America's most dangerous city is about to meet its match. After what just happened in Washington, D.C., President Trump is taking his law and order campaign straight into the heart of Chicago's war zones. For the first time in living memory, our nation's capital went an entire week without a single murder. 719 arrests, 91 illegal guns seized, career criminals rounded up and shipped out. The formula works, and now it's Chicago's turn. I can only imagine what Mayor Brandon Johnson is doing right now, probably hiding in his bedroom, screaming into his pillows. But the president just made an announcement. There's gang leaders running scared and law-abiding citizens cheering in the streets. The National Guard mobilizing, and the countdown has begun. So what happens next will transform urban America forever. Do not look away. And while Trump cleans up our streets, let's talk about cleaning up something else, the visible signs of aging. As we age, our body's collagen production declines, leading to wrinkles, sagging skin, crow's feet, and smile lines. By the time we reach our 40s, collagen levels have significantly decreased, dropping another 1% each year. Collagen makes up a third of our skin's protein, giving it structure and strength. That's why I've relied on Ageless Multi-Collagen for years. I'm obsessed with the results. Look at my skin. 5 key types of collagen from 4 sources, perfectly blended into hydrolyzed peptides for faster absorption, plus every order donates a meal to hungry kids. Get 51% off at healthwithgary.com with free shipping and exclusive bonuses. Now let's get back to Chicago's transformation. This was the scene in the Oval Office just a few hours ago. President Trump announcing he will be surging the National Guard into Chicago after the D.C. operation is complete. Trump is taking back the streets of America's cities by any means necessary. Let's check in with the president.
Grossly incompetent to do, we have to. And after we do this, we'll go to another location and we'll make it safe also. We're going to make our country very safe. We're going to make our cities very, very safe. Chicago's a mess. You have an incompetent mayor, grossly incompetent. And we'll straighten that one out probably next. That'll be our next one after this. And it won't even be tough. And the people in Chicago, Mr. Vice President, are screaming for us to come. They're wearing red hats, just like this one, but they're wearing red hats. African-American ladies, beautiful ladies, are saying, please, President Trump, come to Chicago. Please. I did great with the black vote, as you know, and they want something to happen. So I think Chicago will be our next, and then we'll help with New York, and we're going to help with, and I think a lot of these people that you see on television, they're including the people in this audience. They'll say bad things about me, and then they'll say, "Thank God he's here," because half of them got mugged. To do, we have to, and after we do this, we'll.
Okay, I was just checking. This was posted 2 hours ago by Chicago Flips Red. Consistency is key, and Chicago Flips Red stayed consistent from the trenches to City Hall to Capitol Hill, still in the trenches. Shout out to President Trump for recognizing us and our baseball caps. It is RICO time. Chicago residents tear into Mayor Johnson again. President Trump, this is clearly a photograph that he signed once they gave it to him. Here's another picture of Chicago flipping red. People loving this. Folks, in Chicago, Chicago flips red. President Trump acknowledging the red hats. And we have this. This was posted actually 5 days ago. Strangely, it lines up with what President Trump has just announced. And clearly, you can see, here's the Chicagoan saying, hey, Trump, you need to bring the National Guard to Chicago. 5 days ago, these remarks were made. And now, just a few hours ago, President Trump saying, yeah, Chicago's on the list. Black Americans have started uploading videos requesting President Trump clean up Chicago. Dom Lucier, breaker of narratives, posting this. Let's listen.
Hey, Trump, you need to bring the National Guards to Chicago, man. You got kids killing kids, man. That's not good, man. Washington, D.C. is not much going on compared to Chicago, man. I'm running. It's a war happening right now in Chicago, man. Hey, look, man. Look, go on the news, or go on Google, type Chicago. I'm going back home to Africa, man. I can't. Too much going on, man. In Chicago, man.
Oh, but that's not it. That's not all. Here's one posted 3 days ago. President Trump paying very close attention to the people in Chicago. Common Sense writes, I agree 100%. I can't wait till Trump does Chicago.
Crime. See, it's a lot of y'all out here talking about, yeah, Trump better keep it in D.C. He better not come to Baltimore. He better not come to Chicago. I got some bad news for you. He's coming to different cities. So all of y'all that want crime, unalivings, carjackings, theft, and terrorizing in your cities, he coming for y'all too, man. Look, it's changing. Y'all could call it racism or whatever you want, man, targeting black people. But if you're not a criminal, you ain't got nothing to worry about. And let's just say, as a black man, let's say I get stopped and frisked, and it's unfair, and I'm not doing anything. Guess what I'm gonna do? Yeah, what y'all need? My license? Yeah, here you go. I ain't got nothing to hide. You know, I can very well be pissed about the situation because they stopped a black man. But if it means safer streets and I can enjoy myself in Washington, D.C., so be it. Oh, well, moving on with my day. I got other shit to worry about. And this needs to be done, man. You see endless videos, people robbing CVS, Walgreens, Rite Aid, especially out in L.A. and San Francisco. Shit crazy. But a lot of times, as long as it's not affecting y'all cool with it. So it'll be interesting.
Okay, so check this out. This is all breaking right now. Smart News reports the Chicago mayor calls Trump's National Guard deployment plan unconstitutional and uncoordinated. Forgive me, uncoordinated, uncalled for.
You said people gonna die?
That's what he's gonna probably try to say. Jar Jar, I'm sorry. Chicago mayor calls Trump National Guard deployment plan uncoordinated, uncalled for, and unsound. Mayor Brandon Johnson blasted Trump over what he described as threats to deploy the National Guard in Chicago to crack down on crime. Johnson's comments came hours after Trump made the announcement. President Trump says politicians want him to deploy troops to other cities as well as following the federalization of D.C. Gabriela Iglesias writes, to me, D.C. is exciting, and a lot of people say, where's he going to go from here? Let's listen to the president.
When they asked him to happen, but to me, D.C. is very exciting. And a lot of people say, well, where's he going from there? Well, I have calls from politicians begging me to go to Chicago, begging me to go to New York, begging me to go to Los Angeles. And if we didn't go to Los Angeles with Newsom, they run it so badly, I don't think we would have been able to have the Olympics. They would have ripped down that city. We went there and it stopped day one. And the chief of police in Los Angeles, when they asked him the question, he said, thank God they came, because we could not have handled what was happening. We went in, we stopped it, and that was it. So they needed help. They don't like to say it. I wish they'd say, I need help. I wish the mayor of D.C. would say, you know, we're overridden with crime and we need help, instead of saying the stats are down. I mean, they're under investigation now for fake numbers, where they fudged their numbers. And they did. There's no question about it. They said, oh, we're on a downtrend for 20 years. No, they're on an uptrend for 20 years. Happening, but
President Trump correcting the record as calls for the National Guard to other cities increases. I meme, therefore I am. Sarcastically writes, Trump takeover of D.C. is brutal. White National Guardsman seen assaulting elderly black woman at a metro station. Oops, never mind, he writes. And it's a video of a National Guardsman helping an elderly black woman down the stairs. So I guess this is what martial law looks like in President Trump's America. The National Guard helping elderly women. Isn't that hilarious? Of course, people are going to freak out. Oversight Project asking a question. Does President Trump have the authority to call in the National Guard to Washington, D.C.? Let's find out.
The Constitution.
Did President Trump have the authority to call in the National Guard to Washington, D.C.?
Yes, he absolutely had that authority. The Posse Comitatus Act limits using the military for domestic law enforcement except when authorized by the Constitution or Congress. The Constitution is crystal clear. Article 1 empowers Congress to, quote, exercise exclusive legislation in all cases whatsoever, close quote, over D.C. That means federal officials, not local officials, hold ultimate authority to secure our nation's capital. The 10th Amendment reserves police powers to the states, but D.C. isn't a state. It's a federal territory, and its National Guard reports directly to the president, not to a governor. As head of the federal executive branch and commander-in-chief, the president already has control of the D.C. Guard, and Congress has delegated to him broad authority to act in the Capitol when security is at risk. So when President Trump deployed the National Guard in D.C., he wasn't skirting the law. He was exercising authority in the Constitution itself. It was our commander-in-chief fulfilling his duty to protect the property and the people within the seat of our national government.
Oversight project,
President
nice
Trump have
action there. We got some more. Let's keep going, breaking it down. President Trump. Here's Secretary Noem. She says you need to look like you respect yourself before anyone's going to respect you.
Yourself before anybody respect you. Sir, you're reminding me of something that my dad used to say all the time when I was growing up. He would say, Christy, you kids need to look like you respect yourself before anybody's going to respect you. And in this country, when people look at our streets, when they look at our Capitol, you're bringing respect back to this city. And people will respect our country more because it's safe, it's clean, it's beautiful. And what you're doing is transforming this nation by making sure that our laws are upheld. And millions of people are going to come and be able to enjoy it next year. And I'm excited about that. Thank you for doing that. Sir, you're reminding me.
Here we have Judge Jeanine Pirro. 40 arrests and 5 more guns off the streets of D.C. There have now been 719 arrests, 91 guns seized. President Trump is making D.C. safe again.
Us to a total. Hi, everyone. It's Judge Jeanine. I'm here in D.C., and it is Friday, August the 22nd. Last night, 40 criminal arrests, 5 guns seized as part of the surge of President Trump's attempt to make D.C. safe and beautiful. And it brings us to a total of 719 arrests since the president decided that he was going to bring in all of our federal partners to work with the Metropolitan PD. And it brings us up to 91 guns that have been taken off the street, with the additional 5 from last night. 91 guns that cannot be used now to shoot or harm other people. The best part about all this is when you talk to the people who live in D.C., they're comfortable going to dinner, they're comfortable going for a stroll. The show of force by President Trump is making the quality of life better for the people in the district. And, you know, I want to remind you that this pretty much began with the attack on that ex-Doge person who was working at the White House, who was, as part of an attempted carjacking, pretty much beaten to a pulp. Well, I got news on that front as well. The 2 15-year-olds out of the 8 or 10 that attacked the ex-Doge staffer and his woman friend that he was with have been released from the family court, and they have been told that they are now on a curfew. And this is exactly what I'm talking about. This is why I want jurisdiction of these cases, because as a prosecutor, it's time to prosecute these individuals so they get and understand the consequences of what they have done. In the meantime, we are now 8 days without a homicide in the district. That is pretty stunning. We have 101 homicides so far this year. And for the last 5 or 6 months, we've had at least 1 homicide a week. And we haven't had any for the last 8 days. Now, why do you think that is? Do you think that what President is doing is having a positive effect? Because I do. Hi, everyone. It's Judge Jeanine. I'm here in D.C.
Well said, Judge Jeanine. I remember meeting her outside of a Project Veritas event in Washington. Was it in Washington, D.C.? No. It was in Orlando, actually. Here we have this, a triggered leftist with all the buzzwords, and says millions of people will die.
You said people gonna die?
That's what they say, Jar Jar. They say that. They try to scare us with those kind of words. But we won't let them, right, Jar Jar?
Convicted felon.
This is fascism. This will end in genocide. Millions of people will die if we do not stop this now.
You think millions of people are gonna die?
People will die.
Yes.
Really?
Yes. You know, I don't trust you.
So is this going to be a genocide?
No, not at all.
And that guy did bring a good point up. It is the Second Amendment. You do have the right to bear arms. What was wrong with this guy having a gun?
Convicted felon, more than likely.
Are felons not allowed to have guns?
No, not at all.
And even more protesters showed up to support the fugitive.
Go fuck yourself. Oh, y'all support
this is DC for y'all.
All right, go fuck all them agencies though. Go all those agencies. Go ahead, drag on them.
It's a normal day in DC though. It's a normal day in DC, man.
What do you think about what's going on? You can tell you're upset. You're yelling fascism, the wrong side of history.
This is my city. My family's been here for 6 generations. We've been federal workers for 6 generations. What is going on now is the worst thing that I could imagine. This is war. They are taking over our city. They are taking over our country. This is just the beginning. Everybody's got to get out here.
You say it's war. To what extent are you willing to fight back?
I got kids, you know? It's tough to say. We'll see what happens.
Who are you more scared of? Federal law enforcement or a 13-year-old walking out with a gun?
Federal law enforcement, absolutely.
What's the youngest age you've seen somebody walking out with a Glock here in Washington, D.C.?
Man, my age, 14.
I'll go with
14
13 or 12.
Nah.
13 or 12.
What I see. Yeah. Nowadays, it's not rare to find you somebody that has blood on them.
And this is where it gets super crazy, because after law enforcement had to interview the lady, they found that she was not guilty of anything, so her son came and picked her up, and he was in support of law enforcement. Meanwhile, all these protesters who have no idea about what's going on are against what law enforcement is doing. This is what the son had to say. And surprisingly, the son is also a part of law enforcement here in Washington, D.C.
Yeah.
Was that your father that got arrested?
Yeah, my stepfather.
Your stepfather?
And my mom, yeah. Yeah, D.C. needed to be cleaned up. I grew up in D.C. with, my mom was shot 9 times when I was a kid. I mean, I've seen my stepfather, walking from the house, maybe 3 blocks away, get cut across his eye, just walking down here as a kid. I'd say from the physical abuse, from drugs, from, I'd say substance abuse, from alcohol, you name it. DC needed it. It needed this. So I wasn't expecting this, all of this, but hey, unfortunately, the people that don't live in DC, they want to throw out, DC's not that bad. Well, if you're not in certain areas around certain times, or you're not around certain people, I guess you may not experience it if you ever come to visit. But you stay long enough, you will.
So do you feel like it was necessary for all this to happen?
When it comes down to the crime, 100%. When it comes down to, DC, this is one of the areas where, you'll see human trafficking, you'll see drug traffic. And, well, yeah, I've got a kid on the way. I don't want my kids being exposed to something like it. Every agency right now is super understaffed. So when it comes down to manpower, yeah, this might look like too much. But if you haven't been out here in your vest or in our boots, you really can't sit there and judge us. We do this because, we've got families back at home.
Looks like more protesters have gathered up as we are leaving. Oh, what's up?
Sorry. Biking. Sorry. Don't want to mess up your propaganda shots or anything.
Oh, yeah, don't do that.
Look, it's a bunch of guys in a car. Every time I see y'all, you're with a bunch of dudes. You internalize homophobia.
That was a new one. That was some nice comments. I bet that makes you feel good when you're leaving.
Yeah.
What'd you think about that comeback from them?
First Amendment right.
They just called you a homo.
Everybody has an opinion.
I'm not a homo.
Oh, man. Gotta love it. Right along there, Nick pushing back, getting sick of the incredible amount of disrespect they throw his way. Here's some more.
Field interview with her. Right here is the fugitive. They caught him. They got him underneath arrest. They had the girl with him underneath arrest. She's getting detained. They're running a field interview with her. And this right here is a wanted fugitive that's being taken off the streets of Washington, D.C. We found a gun underneath a tree trunk, and he's also been known for selling drugs here. So, just like that. You guys just got a fugitive off the streets.
Absolutely.
And you think this guy would have been?
And we've been looking for this guy for about 2 days.
As they arrested a wanted fugitive who sells drugs and also was possessing a gun illegally, a group of protesters began to form. Do we feel good about ourselves? Yeah, we feel great actually. Why do you think it's pathetic? They just arrested a guy who had a gun underneath the tree trunk. Why is it pathetic?
Because it's pathetic.
That they found a guy who had a gun underneath the tree
When
trunk.
pathetic, you're okay. You can justify anything. You backfill your beliefs constantly. You're targeting all the unhoused in the city. Get the fucking microphone out of my face.
You get out of my face. You're gonna act like that. How's it going? They just found a man who
What's
was
your name?
selling drugs. My name's Nick Shirley. Actually, you could go ahead and subscribe on YouTube. But anyways, they found a man who had a gun underneath a tree trunk, known for selling drugs. He's a fugitive, and you're mad. You're mad. How are you mad that they found a fugitive on the streets of Washington, D.C.?
Don't worry about me.
But how are you mad?
U.S. Marshals, how are you tonight?
Are you U.S. Marshals? Okay.
Yeah.
You're not faking it?
Sir?
You're not faking it like a lot of the other folks around here? You're not faking the U.S. Marshal shit?
Right there.
Name, badge number?
Mike Sanders.
What's your name? Why don't you pull down your mask?
We're done talking.
Why don't you pull down your mask?
We're done talking. Don't worry about it.
Right here is the fugitive.
Man, I need to get to D.C. and do a ride along. Would you guys like to see that? That would be fun. Here is President Trump personally thanking and shaking hands with federal local law enforcement, helping to make D.C. safe again. This was recorded yesterday when he went out to patrol the streets with the National Guard. Beautiful moment. Look at all those people. So happy to see the President, Commander-in-Chief, making America safe again. And then President Trump remarking about the murders that have stopped in D.C.
To say that there's been no murders since I started. And, it's a terrible thing to say. Who would think that you have to say that there have been no murders? It's terrible. I wrote it this morning. I said, it's hard to say this, but it's actually good news, but it's a hell of a thing to say. There have been no murders in the last week. And nobody can remember the last time that this happened. And there won't be murders because all the thugs are hiding, or they're being sent back to their countries, or they're in jail. And it'll only get better. There's been no murders since I started. And, it's a terrible thing to say. Who would think that you have to say that there have been no murders?
Yep, I'll make sure I wear my press patch. Here's President Trump more talking about the career criminals.
So then the big question is, how long do we stay? Because if we stay, we want to make sure it doesn't come back. So we have to take care of these criminals and get them out of here. We've collected hundreds of career criminals. These are career criminals. You're not going to teach them to be nice. These are probably born that way. I don't know. But they're career criminals. They're very, very dangerous people. They would love to be with you for a little while and slap you around, but I put my money on this guy. He'd take them, right? He'd take them down so quickly. He's saying, I don't want any part of it. No, people don't want to be that. And we have over 1,000 arrests. We're taking career criminals off the streets. It's my ambition that when we're complete, we can take everybody out and you have a great capital. Then the big question.
Beautiful. Here is more about the infrastructure in D.C. The president speaking of it.
About $2 billion. It hasn't been clean. Now it's going to be clean. I'm giving out a contract very soon. Susie's with me. We're going to be raising about $2 billion from Congress. And Congress is happy to do it. And we're going to wisely spend the money. We're doing it with Clark Construction. We're going to head out right from the Capitol and the White House. And if you look at a circle and go about 3 miles out, it's going to be beautiful. All those light poles, see the poles, they're rusting, and they got different lenses on top. If you look, I mean, just looking at so many different problems. And we're going to have this place beautified within a period of 12 months. The streets are going to be retopped, not ripped up and rebuilt, and they're no good after they rebuild them because they start settling. We're going to take off the asphalt and put beautiful, well-done asphalt. You have a good asphalt worker, it's the greatest thing you can have, but there aren't too many of them. But I know all the good contractors. So this place will be beautified within a period of months. So it'll be safe and beautified. It hasn't been.
Wow, man. That is so cool to hear him talk like that. Here he is more. Oh, we just played that here. No murder since I started. Yeah, so remarkable things happening. President Trump talking about Chicago on the list. People in Chicago crying out for Donald Trump to show up and make Chicago safe again. And I can only imagine what is happening right now with Mayor Brandon Johnson clearly having a panic attack, reaching for his medication. If you got value from this report, tap subscribe. My final thought is next. This is what leadership looks like, real leadership. While Chicago's mayor plays politics with crime statistics, President Trump is sending in the cavalry. D.C. proved the model works. 0 murders in a week after years of bloodshed. 719 criminals arrested, nearly 100 illegal guns off the streets. Trump personally thanking every officer involved, shaking their hands on the ground. Now Chicago's gang leaders are about to learn what happens when you terrorize American citizens. And Brandon Johnson's going to learn what happens when you ignore the law. See, the president isn't just fighting crime. He's rebuilding these cities from the ground up with infrastructure and beautification projects. For too long, Democrats let our cities rot while good people lived in fear. And that all ends now. So here's my question. Should Trump deploy the National Guard to every Democrat-run city with out-of-control crime? Which city should he start with? Drop your answer in the comments below. Let's continue the conversation. And while you're at it, make sure you check out our America First merch collection, linked in the description, where you can trigger a liberal today at shop.nextnewsnetwork.com.